Hello class. In this video we're going to look at finding the area of a shape where one of the sides has a fractional piece. Okay, so either it is a fraction itself or it is a mixed number. And to begin with, we're going to do a little bit of review over what we looked at yesterday. So yesterday, one of the things we looked at was what happens when we have a shape that has two fractional sides. So let's say one side was 2/5 and the other side was 1/3. And basically what we came up with was the conclusion that if we just multiplied across the numerators and multiplied across the denominators, we would get the size or the amount of pieces in the set, and we would get the size of the pieces by multiplying the denominators. So for instance, 2/5 times 1/3 equals 2/15. So the area of a shape, 2/5 by 1/3 is 2/15. Okay, so you try one very quickly. Let's say we have a side that is 3/4 and the other side is 3/5. What is going to be the area of that shape? I'm going to pause the video, give you a second to figure that out. Okay, hopefully we've had enough time to look at this. So again, we're just multiplying across. And we did a pretty good job with this yesterday. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 5 is 20. And so the answer would be 9/20. One of the other things we looked at yesterday was what happens when one of the sides has a whole number attached to it. In other words, it's a mixed number, a fraction and a whole number. So we've got something like 2 and 2/3, and we're just multiplying by another whole number, so in this case let's just say 5. Okay, and we said, well, we could use this method if both of these were just fractions, if we didn't have the whole numbers here. So what we can do is we can convert both of those numbers into pure fractions. Okay, in this case, for the 2 and 2/3, we're going to come up with an improper fraction of 3 times 2. Okay, so there's 3/3 plus 3/3. That's 6/3. So 2 times 3 is 6. Plus we have 2/3 more. That gives us 8/3. And we're multiplying that by 5. But a whole number as a fraction is that whole number over 1. And now we can just multiply across like we did up here. 8 times 5 is 40. 3 times 1 is 3. And if we want to, we can further simplify that by dividing it out. 40 divided by 3. So let's do that. 3 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. We subtract. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract. We have a remainder of 1, but since we're doing this in fractions, we are going to report it as a fraction, so it's our remainder over our divisor. So our answer could be simplified down to 13 1/3. Here's one I would like you to try. So let's say that one side is 3 1/4, and we are going to multiply that by the other side, which is 4. I'd like you to try and solve this one. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and give you a moment to do that. Okay, we're going to check our work here. Again, the easiest, or the way that we chose yesterday to show you to solve this, was just to take each of these and turn them into an improper fraction. So 3 1/4 becomes 3 times 4 is 12, so that's 12/4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 12/4 plus 1 more gives us 13/4, and we multiply that. A whole number is simply the whole number over 1, 4 whole units. Now we can multiply across. 13 times 4 is 52. And 4 times 1 is 4. And we can simplify this by dividing 52 by 4. 4 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract. Bring down the 2. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract. No remainder in this case, so our answer is the whole number of 13. Okay, so now we're looking at a different method for solving these, one that does not require us to take and put the mixed numbers into improper fractions. And so first we're going to come up with a problem, and I'm going to just say 4 times 3 and 1/3. Okay, and I'm going to start right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go 3 1/3 this way. Now because I'm dealing with thirds, each box is going to represent 1/3. So it takes 3 of them to make 1, 2, 3, and 1/3. So I can count how many boxes I've gone, and that would show me what the numerator would be for the improper fraction. 3, 6, 9, 10. So 3 1/3 is 10/3, but we're not using the improper fraction today. Okay, so there's one side of my box. And we're just going to make these whole units going down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just going to connect that all across and make the rectangle. Okay, so if you're drawing this, and you should, it's going to be 10 units across. Okay, 10/3, and it's going to be 4 down, 10 by 4. Okay, so let's make sure everybody has that drawn. So what I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to divide this into 2 problems. Okay, the first problem is just going to be the whole number problem, 4 times 3. So if I take this 1, 2, 3, 4, that takes me all the way to the bottom. Okay, but if I'm looking at going across, it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's 1, that's 3/3, 6/3, 9/3, and I'm going to stop right here. Okay, because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the area of this piece right here. Okay, and so that's simply a matter of taking 4 times 3. I'll draw the lines for the whole units. Okay, 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So that should be, and again, I'll draw the lines across. Each one of these rectangular boxes here represents 1 unit because it's 1 by 1. Okay, and there's 4, 8, 12. So the first part of this problem is 12, okay, because I've multiplied the 4 by the 3, and that takes care of everything that's inside here. Okay, all of that, the area is 12, but I still have a little bit more that I have to figure out. Okay, because I've got this piece here, which is 1/3 by 4. So in addition to the 12 that I have to add the missing piece. So I'm going to multiply that out. There's 1/3, or I can just look at it and count them. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3. Okay, so I have 12 by multiplying 4 times 3, but then I also have to multiply 4 times the third. And what a lot of folks were doing yesterday is they were just saying, okay, there's no fraction here, so I've got the 12, I'll just add the third to it. Okay, but there's not just 1/3 here, there's a row of 4/3. Okay, so we have to multiply times that whole number in the front. Then we can add these two together. Now, first of all, before we add, take a look at this 4/3. That 4/3 is an improper fraction. We're going to have to fix that. So I've got 12 plus 4/3. Well, 4 divided by 3 is 1, and there is 1/3 left over. So this problem now becomes this problem, and that's fairly simple to solve. I think we're going to run out of room there. Let's shift a little over. 12 plus 1 and 1/3. 12 plus 1 is 13. And all we have left to add to that is a third. So our answer is 13 and 1/3. And if we want to check our work, we can go back to what we did yesterday. Okay, we would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by 4. That would have been 40 units, and each unit is 1 by a third, so that is in thirds. And if we divide 40 by 3, we come up with the same answer that we got up top. Okay, so that should convince us another way that we are correct in our answer. What I want to do here is just take a moment and connect this to something that we hopefully understand when it comes to multiplication. So let's say we have a number like 42, and we are going to multiply that times 5. Okay, what we do is we say 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so we multiply this times this. Okay, the ones place times the ones place. But then we also have to multiply the 5 times the tens place. So 5 times 4 is 20. So 5 times 40 would be 200. And our answer is 210. Well, now we're going to look at multiplying a mixed number times a whole number. Okay, and remember this diagram where we had to multiply 5 times the ones place and 5 times the tens place. So let's take a fractional number like 2 and 1/3, and let's multiply that times 6. Okay, now what I have to do, think of this as place value. Okay, I've got two place values here. I've got a fractional place value and I've got a whole number place value. Here I just have a whole number place value. Well, I have to multiply the 6 times this place. Okay, so 6 times a third is 6/3. Okay, 6 over 1 times 1 over 3, 6/3. And I also have to multiply it by the other place. So I can't just multiply 6 times 2 and add a third. That doesn't give me the correct answer. So now I've got 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, and then I'd add those two together. But again, before I add them together in this case, I'm going to have to say, well, there's an improper fraction. So 6 over 3, 6 divided by 3 is 2. So another way to look at this is 2, that becomes into the whole number place, and 12 more, because I still have to retain that 12, and so my final answer becomes 14. All right, folks, so now we're going to try some practice problems. And we'll work through these together, give you a little bit of time to work on them. Talk with your neighbor. If you find someone near you who is successful in doing this, and you are not successful, find out what is it they're doing different from you. Are they using yesterday's method? Are they doing something different in today's method that you're forgetting about or not doing correctly? So go ahead and let's see if we can't solve a few problems now together.